people are really rethinking their entire energy profile or the energy solution that we provide, because it's not just a battery now adapting to an existing solar system, because the panels are the generator, the battery is the storage and the intelligence, and you've got additional loads that you can add to it to encompass the entire electrification journey. And EV charging completes that step from a main infrastructure standpoint, but I think we're going to see a lot more intelligent technologies connect up to these systems. So making sure you've got an energy ecosystem aligned that is compatible with other brands in the future. My natural next step thinks about air conditioning. Wouldn't that be amazing as ME storage?
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Open Solar podcast. My name's Jimi Gatland. I am the Director of Pro Experience here in Australia and New Zealand. I have a background of 10 years in the energy industry, so it was always a pleasure to welcome a fellow solar professional to share the mic with today. Now, Australia is a very large country. I'm based on the east coast in a small town called Lennox Head. Approximately 4,000 kilometers to my west is a town called Perth, which is home to the Perth Solar Warehouse. I have the great pleasure to welcome to the podcast today the founder of the Perth Solar Warehouse, our esteemed guest and solar energy veteran, Derek McKercher, tuning in live from China, of all places. Derek, ni hao, welcome to the pod.
Ni hao, Jimmy. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm a fan of Open Solar, so I'm thrilled to be here.
Fantastic, mate. Well, thanks again for joining us. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, you have a extensive background, so let me try and get back to the very early days for you. You were a electrician, a sole trader electrician back in 2004, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Started my journey just doing general electrical work around houses, and had a pretty good knowledge of how houses are configured, and the natural next step when this revolutionary technology came along back in around about 2007, 2009, grid-connected solar PV around about 1.1 kilowatts pumping into the grid. I was fascinated, and I just wanted to learn more. It was a new scope of electrical. Us electricians, we don't really deal with DC technology too much. So when this came along, it was a new wave of learning once again. And so I think learning gets me a little bit excited. So I jumped straight head first into it.
Well, the learning never stops, right? This is a wild ride.
No, that's right.
Industries.
And we're on a new wave of learning almost as well, with AI taking off in the like a next industrial revolution alongside energy storage, which is even more exciting.
100%. And the electrification of everything, electric vehicles, vehicle to grid and home. It just never ends. And for you, you've been on quite a ride with your current business. It was 2013 when you founded the Perth Solar Warehouse, which is widely considered to be one of the great successes of our solar industry. You've ridden the ups and downs of the solar coaster for 13 years now and come out the other side stronger than ever. I'd just love to know a little bit more for our listeners about what you consider to be some of the core reasons for your success.
Definitely from the initial outset, I looked at customer journeys. I had the privilege of being able to hear customer pain points. Being an electrician, once I arrived on the doorstep of a customer's house, some journeys weren't ideal. So I just thought, how come? Why not? Because a lot of the time, it came down to communication. And I think that remains the essence of the business today, is listening to how expectations change over the course of time and what consumer expectations are, and making sure we consistently evolve and keep trying to exceed expectations. I think that's a goal core that we all hold dear to us, not just me, but all internal staff. I think they really want to see the best outcome for a customer. And it's not just at the point of install, it extends beyond that. So we make sure that we've got a really good aftercare department so that we're there from year 5, year 10, and even year 15 and beyond.
Fast forwarding to today then, there's a number of challenges facing the industry, but overwhelmingly the feedback that I'm getting from our solar professionals is that the bottleneck has shifted. And it's shifted from the sales pipeline traditionally being the bottleneck towards the installation pipeline. So this is a boots on the ground issue. This is a shortage of qualified installers in Australia. Is your business experiencing that? And if so, what measures can you take to overcome that?
Undoubtedly. I think that's felt across Australia. especially if you've built a reputation over an extended period. In terms of what are we going to do to counter that? Well, training. We've been training for the last 6 months. We will be able to open up installation capacity, but it does come down to an extended period of training to make sure that we're executing the ideal level of technology that a consumer expects. So I think a general pipeline for that training period is around 3 to 6 months, because most of the time there aren't any. Well, you've got 2 extra levels on top of electrician certification or a trade certificate, and that's your SAA solar accreditation and battery accreditation. And then you've got internal training that also has to occur, because there's a lot for these technicians to learn, especially when they're onboarded into a new organization, company processes, workflows. And so you must appreciate the time for them to adapt with, I guess, someone who's experienced in your own internal organization, so they feel like a part of the team. They feel like from day one, when they are managing their own job out in the field, they can execute to expectation and not sort of navigate murky waters and, I guess, learn on the fly. So I think training is something that a lot of companies that would be a similar size to ours would be doing and preparing, because initially we're all a little bit apprehensive as to how long the uptake or the boom would last. And great news back in December that the rebate would be extended and refined. I really liked the tweak that came out. It creates that pipeline for the next 5 years, and we can lean right into building quality teams to execute quality solutions.
Yep, 100% aligned with everything you just said. That's a fantastic summary. And then projecting out for the balance of 2026. So with that in mind too, with the security and the certainty that we have from the Labor government to continue this cheaper home batteries program into the future, crystal balling a little bit, how do you see the balance of 2026 going?
I think it's going to be strong, Jimmy. I honestly, there was quite a bit of talk around that it would fall off after May 1. I don't know if it depends on different sales styles, but I think if you're accommodating an energy solution to, I guess, an energy profile, you're more likely to have a pipeline that exists well deep into 2026 and even in 2027 before we even finish this financial year. So the uptake, the inquiry is still strong. People are really rethinking their entire energy profile or the energy solution that we provide, because it's not just a battery now adapting to an existing solar system, because you're looking at the power, the panels are the generator, the battery is the storage and the intelligence. And you've got additional loads that you can add to it to encompass the entire electrification journey. And EV charging sort of is the natural, completes that step from a main infrastructure standpoint. But I think we're going to see a lot more intelligent technologies connect up to these systems. So making sure you've got an energy ecosystem aligned that is compatible with, or more likely to be compatible with, other brands in the future. My natural next step thinks about air conditioning. Wouldn't that be amazing as energy storage? Thermal mass.
Yeah, and are you moving into that space, the full electrification of these homes? Or
my brain is open, and look, the hardest thing about air conditioning is the communication protocol that they exist on, or it exists on. And I think that's the difference between where AI has been developed quite well. They've got a very open source communication protocol between all these different platforms, and they're going to be able to connect quite easy. When we've got all these legacy technologies in the market or in someone's home, no one just wants to rip them out because they've spent good money on it. So there's intermediate devices that have to control that and be able to communicate with the battery system or the inverter system that's there. So we've got a long way to go on that. The thing that I find quite funny is when you go to some of these trade shows and you'll see the energy ecosystem that's advertised or displayed in the little icons, are always showing air conditioning. I think that's their pipeline dream. But all of them, when you ask or you dive deep on it, they'll tell you they're working on it. There's nothing that's actually come to fruition. So that's one of the areas I get quite excited about. I don't necessarily dive into heat pumps. A lot of people do, but we would try to align with a plumbing solution that we could recommend in that regard, because I feel that's a little bit more native for their trade background. And that's what I will always lean into with our technology is what do we astutely know, or what do we intrinsically know as our our core focus, and that's electrification, because I'm taught as an electrician, so and I'm not taught as a plumber, so I'll leave the heat pumps up to those guys. But make sure we've got some of the most robust and compatible products for those technologies to adopt. So watching the space of iStore quite closely, because they've got a very inclusive ecosystem there. But yeah, I'd love to see air conditioning hit the market.
100% everything you're saying. It resonates. And I see it a little bit like the Monopoly board. It's almost like putting a hotel or a house on like collector set, because you need that with the electrification of everything. We're going to need the heating, the cooktop, the hot water, the HVAC, I should say before. But I think that's the way it's all going to go, isn't it? So your customers today, who historically were PV customers, now they're battery customers. Soon they'll be EV charger customers, and so on and so forth. Those are customers for life, aren't they? And I'm sure that you have repeat business from your early days that's coming back to you 13 years thereafter.
You've just got to treat them good and make sure you're there whenever they have a question, and just keep innovating because if you see, like, there's expectations change, and customers expect sharper response times. So if there's ways that you can build like an improved support network, definitely focus on that, especially if there's smaller businesses that are out there. It's very important to start thinking not just about the sale, but how you're going to care for the customer after the point of sale.
That's beautiful, and it's quite unique, unfortunately, in our industry. I'm not sure if that's widespread, what you just described. So yeah, I'm proud that you're doing that. And to support that from a software perspective, so obviously you've got to design the system, you've got to send the proposal, you've got to support handover documentation and everything thereafter. So I was having a look at our records before this call. The Perth Solar Warehouse has been a customer of Open Solar since the very early days, 2020. I saw. In fact, your account is account number 7,648. Just to put that in perspective, we're a couple 100,000 now.
Wow,
globally.
Look at that.
So so mate, your support over the years is recognized and appreciated. Thanks for staying with us.
And technology, Jimi.
There you go, mate. And we're constantly, like you were saying before, in this industry, like, you can't be stagnant. You have to be constantly moving. And Open Solar, like, and this is something new for me, having come from the energy industry into software, is it moves at breakneck speed. And we're rolling out software updates every couple of weeks, and just making sure that we stay at the forefront of what's possible in our industry. I'd love to know just the insights as to how Open Solar has helped your business grow over the last 13 years. Definitely
in terms of being an industry-leading software technology. As I mentioned before, we love to be at the forefront of innovation. When Open Solar came out, I did a little bit of a deep dive, and I thought this really has legs. And what I love about it is consistently evolve. Same as our customers expect us to evolve over time, and to make sure we're always there. Open Solar is at the forefront of making sure they've got great embedded technologies. And what I love the most, and I think a lot of businesses are going to love this because the landscape has shifted, is compliance, especially in terms of delivering contract documents. It's so important now for solar businesses you've got to focus on sales first, right? And then you've got your support. But the last thing you need to be worried about as a business owner is maintaining compliance, because it's shifted so quick since June last year. And now it's no longer beneficial for us as a business to be consistently evolving that level when we've got, such a convenient software in Open Solar to be able to just stay on top of that. So, and when you align with a brand like Open Solar, they're invested in making sure that you don't have that issue or worry coming back over time, because that's the issue with compliance. Is the issue tends to arise 9 months, 12 months down the track, and then you fall back onto your contract documents. Now we've had to remove our legacy contract documents, and now we've just gone all in one with Open Solar. Love it. What a story. And so with Open Solar, just by extension of that, I was having a chat with your account executive, the legendary Sam Hall. He mentioned that you were looking to get even more out of Open Solar. So obviously we're more than just a design and proposal platform. This is a
a complete ecosystem for solar installers, and that you're looking at some enterprise services to grow your business even further using our software. Just curious to know, like for you, what does the ideal tech stack look like for you? Like what is missing so far, and what would you love to see moving forward?
Oh, the ideal tech stack. That's interesting. That's really interesting, Jimmy.
I haven't caught you out with that one, but just some ideas, maybe like AI. Is that
Yeah, have you MCP servers? Have you like that? This is the next step. This is what you there needs to be a level of open source so that the software can communicate with each other, because we will undoubtedly have our own bespoke or not bespoke, but we'll have our tech stack that's there, and we won't necessarily want to move from certain things. I think people building their businesses from the ground up could definitely look at Open Solar in terms of CRM, but having, I guess, there is so much software out there at the moment.
there is, and it's that API integration, isn't it? It's that
That's
making
right.
it all work seamlessly
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
So I know they're all racing, and we're looking at, I think there's, even with our CRM that we use at the moment, we're using Monday.com, and they've only just released MCP server compatibility so that we can connect up a lot of alternative configurations. But I think the evolution is, we're only at the beginning. We're only at 1 o'clock, Jimmy. So
It's a wild ride, mate. Buckle up. Yeah.
I
That's the
don't
industry we're
even
in.
know what the ideal tech stack looks like, because it's consistently
Yeah.
evolving. You can already see agentic systems. We've just been bombarded with them over the last 2 months. 2026 is the year of the agent. I know we're consistently working behind the scenes on internal agentic workflows. I would love compatibility with Open Solar there. It's not to make people redundant. It's very important to put that message out there. It's to get the best capabilities out of our human resources and not have them worrying about mundane jobs every day, because there are certain things that we could really unleash the capability of humans picking up the phone and having a conversation, and all the data's taken care of behind the scenes. That's where we come back to being really back to our essence, because right now we're data processors and we don't have to be. And that's what AI is great for. So I think getting back to being human again is where the greatest benefit of all this software is going to take us. So I think I'm confident that Open Solar is going to be a technology that will consistently evolve and will be compatible with my tech stack. And if it's not, Jimmy, I've come for you, mate.
You know where I am now, mate. Exactly. Oh, that's beautiful. I love your insight. It's always a pleasure, Derek, speaking with you. I love the insights that you have. It's always such a great chat. I've got a couple more questions just to close, if you wouldn't mind. Just generic questions we love to ask everybody. But one of them is, magic wand, if you could fix something or improve something with the industry overnight, what would that one thing be?
I would love to improve how they drop rebates.
Yeah, okay. That's very fair.
But I'm glad that's behind us. So we've all had to do a fast-paced education, or we've had to change workflows. I know a lot of other businesses have had to do it. Smaller companies have had to adjust quickly. Training is so important for people, and we all disregard it. So, like we especially as electricians, and I'm guilty of this too. I used to just pick up a technology and think that I could install it, but now it's so comprehensive. You've got so many layers to it that taking time to do your training is so important. And if you're going to invest in a technology, you must make sure you understand it like the back of your hand and can support it over time. And that's why it's so important now not to have an unlimited tech stack or a product solution and just hone in on 3 or 4 products that you know you're passionate about, that when the customer calls, you can almost solve the problem without having to dive into it, and they can hear your confidence in your voice. But I think many businesses will jump on the next flavor of the month. But this is what I'm here in Shanghai doing, Jimmy, is we're researching brands. I know we're here for the SIG Energy factory opening, the new factory in Nantong. But the previous week ahead, we were meeting with other brands of who we've aligned for the next 2 years to make sure that we can support it, to make sure that the customer has great assurance in it, and that our team can be adequately trained, not just in sales, but also in installation. And so it's very important to have those conversations, to take the time to learn. And I really wish that if we could change anything, that when we as businesses adopt technologies, we take the time to learn it and to have adequate resources there for consumers after the point of sale. Because my biggest fear is that in 2 years' time, half the people that have adopted the technologies that are great, they're really, really good. Unfortunately, they're just not supported. And it's not a blight on the manufacturer. It's usually comes down to how the company structures their aftercare, their longevity. Just know that I'm committed to, I'm here for the long haul. I love electrification. I come to a place like Shanghai and my God, it blows my mind. And I encourage anyone to get over here to just see it as the crystal ball that it is, because I know what the the media rhetoric can be, or there'll always be naysayers or negativity towards any sort of change. But the world is shifting towards electrification. It's the most efficient use of energy. All countries deserve the right to have energy in this world, and the only way we can do it and spread the benefits of energy to the greater world is to shift to electrification.
100%. Amen. I think you may have already answered my next question, but just to throw it out there just in case. Yeah, here we go. One piece of advice. So you've been in this industry a long time. You've seen a lot of these changes. You, better than most, can probably forecast what's coming next. For someone up and coming in this industry, what would you say to them?
I think get out and explore the world. That definitely opened my mind. From the early days when I went to Europe and I saw just how they adopted EV charging in heavily built up areas, I thought it was fascinating. And then the next journey, I came to Shanghai New Energy Conference, and I encourage anyone to get over here if you can and go to that. Look, there's a whole lot of people, but ignore it and just walk around with your eyes wide open and look at how the transportation network works, how people, like the EVs outweigh any sort of vehicle here. The technology is mind-blowing. And it's superior, and you can see why they've taken it up. I think explore. Use different, geolocations to understand what's coming to your local region, because it is coming. And I think the more we keep learning as an industry, the better we grow. It's very important that we are Team Sustainable Energy, and any sort of, I know we've got a little bit of competition over in that neighborhood over there, but we are one team. And the worst thing that we could ever do is, fight each other, and we need to actually bring each other up. And then all of a sudden we have a winning formula to basically, it just closes out all the negative conversation, and all of a sudden sustainable energy takes over. Australia thrives, and we're up here, as a beacon for the rest of the world as to what you can do with a nation with abundance of sunshine. Elon is about to put satellites in space because there's no atmosphere. Not satellites in space, but data centers in space, sorry. No atmosphere to capture that power and to make sure that those data centers don't, there's just so much more. It's a nuclear reactor in the sky, and we can capture it and we can take it so we don't even need to worry about building our own. We've got it there already.
Love it. I love it. I love it, Derek. And I'm aligned with everything you just said. It all rings home so true. And even across, not even just the sector of the industry that you're in, being solar retail, but in the wider industry, we're in software supporting the solar industry. I feel like we're one team, and we're here to save the world with renewable energy, and there's no time to waste. So working together is the only way forward here. So,
well, software is how you do it intelligently, Jimmy. And so we've had hardware, and we've sort of ticked off all those boxes, but it is the missing link, and that's how people get the best experience out of the technology they have. So whether it is a battery or a solar PV system or a quoting platform, the user experience is how you maximize, the full benefits and not just scrape the surface. And when you do, and I'm going to say in open solar terms, if installers on a quoting level can really deep dive into it, and that's why we're going down your premium program. It's because I
There's
want
just so much.
I
to
want
it,
to
right?
learn right into your software, and if you can learn anything from me, just dive into it and just make sure, because so many of us learn a few, I guess, a little bit, and then we think we know it all. And there's so much more potential. And if someone's comparing, let's say, two open solar quotes, and someone's dived right into it, and they're leveraging the
Yeah.
platform, the customer is going to look at your quote and weigh it up far more than what they are going to your competitors.
That's 100% true. I used Open Solar for 6 years before I joined the team, and I was shocked by how much I didn't know about the platform when I joined. Like, there's such a breadth to what it can do, and most of our users are our solar professionals. They're just scraping the very surface of it. So I love that you're diving right in. We'll be here to guide you all along the way. Now, Derek, we might need to wrap there, but hey, thanks for tuning in all the way from China. I'm sure that is no mean feat, breaking down that great firewall. So thanks for tuning in with us today. It's been a real pleasure, as always, and wishing you all the best for the rest of your adventures in China and for the team at Perth Solar Warehouse for the year ahead.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.